today. Bleck and Abdalla up next right here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago, hanging out with you for the next 3 hours until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. We had good texts yesterday, so keep the text rolling here on the show throughout the show today. Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you for the next 3 hours. How about that? Brendan Sorsby is applying for the supplemental draft for the NFL. And that would then end the saga with Texas Tech. And we don't have to worry about the NCAA or the Big 12 or anyone stepping in to say that Sorsby should not be playing college football in this upcoming season, because he is planning on applying to the NFL's supplemental draft.
Well, I think Texas Tech thought that they were the Kings, and they tried to pull the "you come at the king, you best not miss." And when you had the rest of the conference start pulling lawsuits out yesterday, they were like, whoa, 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 hold on a second. Hold on. Okay. When your own conference starts to say, we're not going to let this happen, and we're going to vacate wins, and we're going to not let these, we're going to put injunctions in, and we're going to essentially ban our own teams from playing you and all this kind of stuff. Brendan Sorsby took it upon himself to just say, all right, I'm just going to go to the NFL because enough of this. Enough of all of this happening. He's hired a lawyer that has actually dealt with fighting the NCAA and fighting the NFL just in case the NFL decides to take extra action against him when he does, and if he does go in the supplemental draft, because there's no guarantee that a team is going to draft him in the supplemental draft. And he has chosen to apply for the supplemental draft. The deadline is the 22nd of June. So he had a few days here to decide. But after all these lawsuits came in from other teams in the conference, in the Big 12, Brendan Sorsby saw the writing on the wall and was just like, enough of this. After all the injunctions, after all the lawsuits, a weird round table from Texas Tech putting all their toes down and putting all their feet down and saying, we're going to stand behind Brendan Sorsby, and fine for them for doing that. At least he is the adult in the room and saying, all right, enough of this. I'm going, look.
You're giving, I think you're giving Sorsby way too much
credit. But after
here.
A certain amount of time, he's got to be, at least he's the one that's like, enough.
No.
I'm going to at least end this and go to the NFL.
Okay.
I'm at least giving him credit for saying, enough of this. I'm not going to fight this anymore. I'm going to end this here and go to the NFL.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I think he saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
I think he saw
That's what I'm saying.
From the rest of college football. In the Big 12 specifically, you mentioned the other schools. The schools in the Big 12 starting to push back. The attorney generals of those states, of schools in the Big 12 saying, yeah, we got your back. We'll go to battle with Texas. We'll go after the attorney general in that state for over this. That's cool. Kansas rose up and they, it was just very obvious to me as this story started up that the Texas judge granted the temporary injunction on June 8th, that the reaction after June 8th was going to be the outcome of this story of him not playing. Mm-hmm. I get that for a brief week or so, there was a path for him to play in this upcoming college football season. Suspended for the first 2 games of the year, but then playing at quarterback for Texas Tech in this upcoming season. I understand that technically was ruled as a possibility. I just felt the pushback widespread across college football from the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and then the Big 12 specifically, where the teams in the Big 12 were upset and they wanted something done about this, that they can have the granted whatever, and they could be they could say, well, that trial won't take place until February, so tough blank, we're gonna play him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't going to fly, no matter what. And so if you're Sorsby, you want to give him credit for pivoting and now changing his plans, and he will go to the supplemental draft, and we'll explain what that actually means and what that could take place for his future coming up here in the next couple of months. But I think this was something where he realized that $5 million of NIL that Texas Tech were on the hook to pay him for this upcoming football season, that there was a very strong possibility that he would commit to them and they would commit to him, but the rest of college football would not allow that to happen. He would miss the supplemental draft, and he would just be on the sideline for this upcoming college football season, not playing football while also not making the money. And so I think that's why he pivoted, and now he is applying for the NFL supplemental draft. I think you're giving him way too much credit.
No, but all I'm saying is,
I think his team of people, the people around him, realized that the Big 12 was not going to allow this to take place.
But that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that he finally said, this isn't going to happen. There's no way I'm going to be able to set foot on a college football field.
There is no, where are you getting the quotes of this?
No,
he didn't say that.
He put out a statement.
And he said that's what he said. That you're quoting what he said.
No, I'm not quoting what he said, but I'm saying that that we all saw that there's no way he was going to play. There's no way that we've been saying for the entire week that there's no way that a guy that bet on college football, that bet against his own teammates, that bet against the guy that was ahead of him on the depth chart was going to set foot. And I think that after all of this stuff that happened yesterday with all these other lawsuits and all these other things that happened, that he was like, okay, my only other path is to play this year, to be in some form of a building, whether it's a college or pro, and the only way it's going to be as pro is to enter the supplemental draft, because I'm not going to get this appeal heard before the 22nd. They're not going to rush this because that date is coming up here in like 6 days. So I need to enter the supplemental draft. And whether it was a lawyer, whether it was his team, whatever, someone told him, you need to do this. And he did it. He could have easily aligned himself with the round table of Texas Tech dudes that we heard from last week and been
I think that's the administration for the university. It just wasn't a bunch of random dudes at a bar.
I think it could have
those were
easily
the people of power at Texas Tech.
It could have easily been a round table of guys at the bar of Texas Tech. They could have been like, nah, kid, you should play. You should double down on this. They could have easily done it. They could have easily picked 5 guys from a bar at Texas Tech, and they probably would have come up with the same kind of statement that the administrators at Texas Tech had. And I think that whoever's advising him said, you can't stand behind the guys that are advising you from Texas Tech. You have to enter the draft. And so whether he did it on his own or he listened to his team and his team finally convinced him, someone advised him or he did it himself and said, enter the supplemental draft. It's not like after something clicked yesterday for him to apply for the supplemental draft. It wasn't just him, because after all of this, and we kept saying that Texas Tech keeps doubling and tripling and quadrupling down, that they're going to keep playing him and saying that they're going to play him, something changed yesterday in his mind or his team's mind, and they got to him. And he decided to enter the supplemental draft. He could have easily just said, no, I'm going to keep trying to play, or I'm just going to sit out a year and enter the 2027 NFL draft. He could have easily done that, but something changed and he's entering the supplemental draft. So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit, or his team, for getting to him.
His PR team?
Whatever.
Yeah.
And changing his mind and doing that, and at least getting him in some, maybe if he's selected, getting him in some NFL building this year to do that. And maybe it's just for money. But whatever happened yesterday,
of course it's money. Everything about this is about money.
Of course.
It's just, if he wasn't going to play at Texas Tech, he wasn't going to get the NIL money.
Yeah.
So this is the pivot. So this is from the story from Pete Thamel on ESPN.com. to explain the supplemental draft. So for people who don't know how this works, according to the collective bargaining agreement, the supplemental NFL draft is held if, quote, a player who is not eligible for the draft in any league year becomes eligible after the date of the draft. He will be eligible to be selected in the supplemental draft if the league elects to conduct such a draft. First held in 1977, the supplemental draft allows teams to bid future draft picks on players. The league hasn't had a supplemental draft since 2023, and no one has been selected in a supplemental draft since 2019. That's when the last player that was selected was Cardinals took safety Jalen Thompson with a 5th-round bid. So teams in the NFL can use their draft picks for this upcoming draft to bid on the player. Okay. So with that said, it sets the stage with a quarterback who could be a first-rounded graded quarterback if he stayed in school this upcoming season for next year's NFL draft to be available to whoever wants to bid on said player. So Brendan Sorsby is available. If you are an NFL team and you are taking a look at next year's NFL draft and you're one of those teams that's looking for a quarterback, what are you willing to bid to try and land Sorsby a year early, knowing you get him in your system, you can develop him, you can do however you want with this, especially if some of those teams are planning on taking quarterbacks in this upcoming season. Is a team willing to put out there a bid of a first-round pick on Brandon Sorsby? I would find that really hard to believe.
No.
Now, could it be a second or a third-rounder? Perhaps. Could a team steal him with a 5th-round bid? A team that has quarterbacks? A team that doesn't need a quarterback? And then they could put him in their system. You know, hopefully he develops, and then that's trade bait in the future. I think it's all on the table when you look at a prospect like this, because like I just read to you, the last time this took place, the Cardinals selected a safety. Mm-hmm. Safety and quarterback, 2 different positions.
Yeah.
You know, teams are a little bit more desperate about trying to develop and to bring up a young quarterback than a safety.
So Sorsby would get a contract. This is a story from ESPN that I'm reading about all the things that could happen. Sorsby would get a contract equivalent to what a player picked in the same spot in April's draft would earn. So if he gets picked in a slot in the 2nd round, he would get that contract from the 2nd round. So no one's picking him in the 1st round of this draft because no one's going to give him 1st-round money. They're just not.
I mean, there are teams that don't have quarterbacks.
I understand that. So
I don't
according to
I don't think it's likely.
I don't think they would.
But a team could if they wanted to.
So according to Matt Miller, NFL draft analyst for ESPN, he had Sorsby, if he would have went in the Fernando Mendoza draft in last draft like 2 months ago.
Yep.
Right behind Fernando Mendoza ahead of Ty Simpson. In next year's draft, he has him ranked, now before the gambling situation, which really doesn't affect his play on the field. It just affects whatever you think of him as a character. He has him right behind Arch Manning and Dante Moore. So he has him as the 3rd-ranked prospect in this draft, upcoming draft. So if you want to say where he fits, Ben Solak, friend of the show from ESPN, says that think of like the Cardinals, who has Jacoby Brissett now with the contract problem. He wants more money. Right now, Sorsby is better than Carson Beck. He just is. He's better than Carson Beck. So if the Cardinals want to actually win some games or develop a quarterback, but they think that they could maybe get something out of him and want to see what they could get instead of Carson Beck, they could do that. The Jets maybe see what they have instead of Geno Smith. You could also look at the Steelers and see what they have for the future with someone that's not Drew Aller. They drafted Drew Aller. You could draft Sorsby if you get him in the 2nd round. Maybe if this goes all the way to the 3rd round of the supplemental draft, it's not a lot of money. You could see what you have in developing him and Drew Aller behind Aaron Rodgers this year. Those are the teams that Ben Solak points out on ESPN.com.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's open for a lot of teams. I think even teams around the NFL that have a quarterback, a starting quarterback, or a good young quarterback, like, why wouldn't you, if you have a quarterback, say a team like Jacksonville or a team like Carolina, you have a young quarterback that you have faith in, and they're the starters. So you're not doing this to replace them, but why wouldn't you put a bid in on a 6-rounder? Like, say no one. Like,
Yeah.
what if you land Sorsby for a 6-rounder or something, right? Like, I'm guessing that's not going to be the case because I'm guessing someone will use a 2 or a 3, second or a third on Sorsby. But, like, I feel like teams are going to put bids in, even those teams that have quarterbacks, because if you get him, then you hope he develops, and then you can have a trade piece. Or you just have a guy in the pipeline. There's nothing like there's no punishment for having too many quarterback options for a team.
The Vikings have a guy on a 1-year deal and a rookie quarterback who they clearly don't like very much. The Bucks have a quarterback who's on an expiring contract in Baker Mayfield. The Dolphins gave a guy too much money in Malik Willis, who they might not, are they going to actually stick with him for the long haul after next year? What are they going to do? The Browns just love adding quarterbacks, so we'll see what they do there. You've got the Falcons, who signed Tua kind of in the same situation that the Vikings did for 1 year, and they're not paying him a lot of money. And they have Penix, who this coaching staff didn't draft, and he's often injured. So Sorsby could be an option there, too. Like, there's a lot of teams out there that could go after Sorsby.
You can text the show at 310-840-4910. We go to a texter out in Oregon, the 541. He says, Steelers, ? Won't have a great pick next year since somehow they always end up in the middle, the back half of the draft.
Yeah.
He also says Colts, ? They don't want to re-sign Rivers if they need to, so that's a possibility. We go to a texter from the 208, which is out in Idaho. He says it's pretty obvious that Tech leadership went to him and told him that they were done protecting him or that they found a different starting option. I don't know. And here's the thing. Here's the rub of all of this conversation. We've focused here in the last 15 minutes talking about Sorsby specifically, but Texas Tech, y'all got some egg on your face. I mean, to have a 21-minute roundtable with the heads of the university, the president, the AD, you have the coach, you have everyone getting together to explain to all of us why you're doing the right thing, helping this kid. Boy, you stepped out for him, and he went a different direction. And now you don't have a quarterback. So you did all of that. You're a big booster, all the supporting of the kid. I mean, we played the clip last week. Take a listen to this is the president of Texas Tech talking about the situation from last week.
We did ask the NCAA to consider modifying or changing their policies when we wrote that letter welcoming him back. But I think we have to recognize that the rules in place now were made long before there were millions of young people walking around with illegal gambling apparatus in their pocket. And that our consideration today needs to take into account the fact of medically diagnosed conditions and the circumstances in which they live. And so I'm very proud to be sitting here with these colleagues supporting Brendan. But that support goes way beyond this room.
So that's the president of Texas Tech long before the legal gambling apparatus in his pocket. What the hell?
Okay.
It was such a ridiculous roundtable discussion. 21 minutes that Tech put out for themselves. No one asked them to do this. They thought that was a good look. It's unbelievable.
And
long
now
before
he's leaving you in the dust. How about that?
Legal gambling apparatus in their pocket. All right, so that's the latest. You can text the show, 310-840-4910. Sorsby is heading to the NFL, the supplemental draft. We'll continue to talk about that story as the show goes on here on Bleck Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. How about this? George Pickens has reported to Dallas ahead of mandatory minicamps. You think he could change the Cowboys' mind about giving him a new contract? We'll talk about that coming up next. Speaking of the legal gambling apparatus, international soccer is taking over the U.S., and only DraftKings has you fully covered.
The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states right in your pocket.
Yes.
So at all the matches you love all in one place with one app right in your pocket. New DraftKings customers sign up with code BNA26 and spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days.
Long before the legal gambling apparatus. That's code B&A26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involve risk of loss. Sportsbook's bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
Start spreading the news. For the first time since 1973, the New York Knicks are NBA champions. Congratulations to all the long-suffering Knicks fans. You are the champions of the world. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
George Pickens wants a new contract from the Dallas Cowboys. He was franchise tagged. He signed the tag. He'll get $27.3 million on the tag. They signed in late March, but he wants a new deal. Last season, he had 93 catches, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys. For most of the season, though, CeeDee Lamb was injured at different times. So, like, George Pickens had a lot of production in those games that CeeDee Lamb wasn't there. George Pickens reported yesterday to take his physical to be there for mandatory minicamp that starts up this week for the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think that Pickens can change the mind of the Cowboys to convince them to give him a long-term deal with Dallas?
This is...
All right. Back to you.
This is the team that traded away Micah Parsons. Like, are you kidding me? Change Jerry Jones' mind? Really?
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where why would Dallas do that? Like, he's a very good player.
Yeah.
With that said, you have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
You have the number one wide receiver.
Uh-huh.
Do you really need two?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes, you do.
Has it worked for Cincinnati?
No, it hasn't worked for Cincinnati, but
they're the team with two number ones.
I understand
and
that.
And they've mortgaged all of their cap space for 2 wide receivers and a quarterback.
No, I understand that. And it's come to a detriment of their defense. It's come to a detriment of their offensive line, which has hurt their quarterback because Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. And what good is having 2 great wide receivers if you can't have a quarterback to throw to them? Now, Joe Flacco's been really good when he's stepped in, but it hasn't led to any them winning the division, hasn't led to them getting to the playoffs. It hasn't led to anything. So, yeah, I see your point. I see your point. But at the same time, the Cowboys keep letting good players leave. Like, you have to, at a certain point, find a way to marry good drafting and good cap management. And yes, the cap keeps going up and up and up. And you should be able to find a way to work out paying all of your players or some of your players and most of your players and drafting well and making everyone happy. And you let Parsons, you traded away Micah Parsons and you've found a way to, at least for now, keep George Pickens. And we'll see if you can work something out with him. Maybe in the during the season, maybe in the off season. We'll see. But as of right now, take advantage of having him now and having CeeDee Lamb and Pickens with Dak Prescott, who put up great numbers last year. You've got a better defense this year. see if I think they have a really, really good chance of winning this division and making a run in the playoffs. I don't know if they can get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. I still think that the NFC West is really good.
Yeah.
But I think that they can go pretty far in the playoffs this year. And I think it has a lot to do with having both CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, and if they can both stay healthy this year, too.
You and I are on the same with that. We both think the Cowboys are going to be good this season. We both agree. And I think what I would, obviously they have Pickens for this upcoming season. Stephen Jones has been on the record saying the team's not going to negotiate a long-term deal. So you got a franchise tag player who wants a long-term deal. You use them for this season. Who knows what happens in the future? I'm guessing at some point Pickens is going to want to get traded again. He's going to want out unless he gets a new deal. And quite honestly, that's the way the Cowboys should play it. They should get what they get out of him this season and then move on from him in the future. Don't give him the long-term deal and focus some of those resources into the defense. If your defense just gets a little better, they don't even have to get to the midway point in the NFL. Just get to like the high 20s. This Cowboys team's going to be good.
Yeah.
They're going to be really good.
Yeah.
And especially if Dak stays healthy throughout the season, we've seen Prescott be able to put up MVP-like numbers when that takes place. So I agree with you. I think Dallas is going to be a good team, and they are certainly going to challenge the Eagles for the division in the NFC East.
Yeah, and I think that this goes way back to when they gave Ezekiel Elliott way too much money, and it messed up their entire cap for a while. And now, obviously, that's gone and done with, but they've got to find a better way to manage, giving Dak all of this guaranteed money and making him a $60 million man every single year and giving him that annual money every single year. You've got to find a way to rework that every single year so you can create more cap space every single year. And it comes at a detriment to some of those key positions.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. We've been paying attention to the World Cup. How about last night? Did you watch the late game? Iran and New Zealand, a 2-2 draw, back and forth. The action was outstanding. Yesterday, four matches, all very good. And I think
four draws.
It was the first time in World Cup history that every match played in the group stage all ended in draws.
Yeah, it was the first time since, 1958, I believe,
I'm not
or something
that old.
like that.
I'm talking about modern day.
Yeah, first time since 1958,
Yes,
I believe.
crazy.
It's happened before. Yeah, first time since 1958, but wow. Yeah, shout out to my Egyptian squad drawing with Belgium. For those of you new to the world's game of soccer, sometimes a draw is a win.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
yesterday's Egyptian draw with Belgium, that's a win, buddy.
That's a win for Egypt.
That's a win for Egypt. Shout out.
It's a loss for Belgium.
It's a loss for Belgium.
It's a win for Egypt.
That is a win for my guys. Shout out.
Spain draws with Cape Verde.
That's a win for Cape Verde. That is an all-time win.
And that is a loss for Spain.
That is a big loss for Spain.
And what we mean by that is usually if you're an underdog in those situations, if you can pull a draw, then you're sitting pretty. And if you're a large favorite and you're looking to advance, you need 3 points out of these matches to get the result. So that's what we have. And here on the Bleck and Abdalla show, we love watching the World Cup and supporting the World Cup. And here on the show, we like to bring to you a segment called the World Cup of Soup.
No soup for you. Bleck and Abdalla's World Cup of Soup.
Soup is good food.
That's right. The World Cup of Soup. And throughout the group stage here on Bleck and Abdalla, Abdalla will select a country out of each group. He will find a soup. He will taste test the soup here on the show. And then when the group stage is over, he will throw all of those soups into a bracket for the knockout round of the World Cup of Soup. So today, which group are we going to? And you told the listening audience that we would be featuring two soups today that here on a Tuesday would be a two-soup Tuesday.
Two-soup Tuesday.
So, Abdalla, first soup is up on deck. What do you have?
So, 2 for Tuesday is going to have to wait because here's the problem. I had a soup. I had two soups all picked out, right? I found a soup of Canada. So supposedly Canada's soup is a split pea soup. And I was going to get a split pea soup, and then I was going to marry that with a Moroccan soup. I found a Moroccan restaurant. I was going to go
Which
to that
groups
Moroccan.
are you talking about?
B and C.
Okay,
B
groups.
is my group of death: Switzerland, Canada, Qatar, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I was going to get a split pea soup from Canada.
Why is that your cup of your
Group of death? Because there's no Bosnian soups out there I could find. It's hard to find a Qatarian restaurant out here, and I don't think the Swiss drink soup. I don't know, unless it's just like melted chocolate.
Or eat it.
Or eat it. Yeah. Is it just hot? I was just gonna bring in like a cup of hot chocolate, maybe.
You
So
would
a
get
split pea
creativity
pea soup, and then I found a Moroccan restaurant. I was all excited, and then
So you're moving on to Group C?
Group C, I was gonna marry Group B and Group C and double up there. I was all excited to go to this Moroccan restaurant. They're closed on Monday and Tuesday. So
wait, hold on. So to recap this segment, World
Yeah.
Cup of Soup.
Yep.
You're doing a great job of explaining to the listener how you're handling this.
Yeah.
So on the first day, you featured a soup from Group A.
Group A was great. South Korea was awesome. The Yukazong soup,
Yeah.
4 out of 5 bowls.
Okay, so
awesome.
from Group A, you went with a
Delicious.
South Korean soup.
Delicious.
So then, for the second day of this segment,
Yeah.
you then bounced to Group D.
To celebrate the great U.S. win, I had a
And then-
broccoli cheddar soup. Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so you
delicious.
featured the United States.
I did, yeah.
And now, today, you were going to feature Group B and C.
Yeah.
But you fell into an inability to secure said soups.
Yeah, a lot of restaurants here are closed on Mondays, and for some reason, some of them are closed on Tuesdays.
Okay, so you are now bouncing to Group E.
I'm going to Group E.
All right,
And
can you
E-
let us know who's in Group E?
E is for Ecuador. For those of you keeping track at home and have watched Sesame Street, Group E consists of Germany, the Ivory Coast, Ecuador, and Curacao. And we go to Ecuador,
Okay.
who, unfortunately for Ecuador, they lost to the Ivory Coast 1-0 on Sunday. And Ecuador's national dish is encebollado, which
Okay.
is a popular Ecuadorian dish. It is their national dish. It is a fish stew. It is a hearty and savory fish stew with.
I was going to say,
with
I can
tuna,
smell some fish in here.
all right, with tuna,
What do you mean,
tuna,
all right?
yuca,
I can smell it.
pickled onions, and
What is wrong with you?
chifles, which is plantains, which is fried plantains.
Okay.
And so it's also called the hangover cure, which means I think this is going to to be spicy.
Okay.
Because usually hangover stuff is hangover.
You're trying
cures
to
are
open
spicy.
the
so
container?
I've heated it up.
Yes.
I've got planned. They give you a bunch. I've got some for you too. If
Okay.
you want some,
All right.
I heated some up for you too. If
No,
you
thank
wanted
you.
because you look kind of hungover.
Yes.
So I've got some.
I'm not hungover.
I've got
I'm
some
good.
plantains here, some crispy plantains.
Those
I'm
just
putting
look
it
like Lay's
into
potatoes
the
chips.
soup. Well, yeah, but they're plantains, bro.
Okay, so you're
putting it into the
dropping plantains into the soup.
Mix
Now
them
you're
up a little.
mixing.
Look at these hearty chunks of.
All right,
that's
let
a
me
yuca.
take a look at your chunks.
Look at that! Look at that chunk of tuna right there.
All right, that's a big chunk
That's
of
a big
tuna.
chunk of tuna. All right.
So you can watch the show on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla show, live streaming each and every day. So he's got a big chunk of tuna on his spoon.
Shout out to La Colonia in Mayfair. This is the best Ecuadorian restaurant in Chicago, according to TikTok.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
It's a big piece of tuna.
It's a big piece of tuna. Here
going
we go.
straight into Abdalla's mouth. All right, with a slurp. Oh no. Oh no, something's happening because he's taking his headset off. He's taking his headset off and he's moving away from the microphone. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, he is sitting back in his chair. He took the headset off, the slurp and the tuna straight in the mouth, and he is taking a moment. He is sitting here contemplating life. This is a tough move. Something's happening. Something's happening internally for this guy. This poor individual with his soup. Oh, no. Now he's back. Headset back on, moving towards the mic.
That is so good.
Oh, it was positive.
Oh my God.
That was a positive
This
lean
is
back.
so good. Now I got some plantains. Oh man, some onions. This is such a good soup. It's got a little kick to it. Oh yeah, the hangover. This is thick. Pardon the expression. The spice, the cilantro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So what is the grade for the soup
I like
today?
that they gave me the plantains on the side because it adds a little texture, a little crunch.
Sure. You always want a little crunch with your soup.
I got to get some of the yuca in here, too.
Okay, yuca. Yep. Lock it in.
Okay. Oh, my God. That's such a good soup. Okay. All right. For the encebollado from La Colonia for Ecuador. I know they lost to the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
That's a 4.8.
It's a 4.8
4.8. 4.8 Bulls.
4.8. All right.
4.8.
So that's a good soup.
4.8 Bulls.
He loves the soup.
4.8.
So there you go. There it is, the World Cup of Soup, a 4.8. Yep.
No soup for you. Bleck and Abdalla's World Cup of Soup.
Soup is good
Sure you don't
food.
want any of this? It's good, man.
I thought something happened to you. The way you sat back when you took that first bite of the
I'm going to
tuna.
need to take the next segment off. Just so
The
I can
World
eat
Cup
this.
of Soup here on Bleck and Abdalla. It's the only way we know how to celebrate the World Cup. As we await for Friday when the men's national team faces off against Australia, 3 Eastern in the afternoon. It should be a great match as the U.S. on Friday, they won 4-1 over Paraguay.
And I'm not going to lie, because that Moroccan restaurant is closed on Monday and Tuesdays, I'm probably not going to get that double up until Thursday because I get the soups the day before.
Okay.
So tomorrow, we're probably going to feature I'm going to try to feature Group F.
Okay. Who's in
Which is-
Group F?
Sweden, Japan, the Netherlands, and Tunisia.
Oh, okay.
So we're also just going to kind of feature what's available here. We might be jumping around as the matches all jump around
Well,
here.
you're the one
Listen.
that's jumping around. You skipped B and
I
C.
know. Listen, the matches are happening as they're happening, baby. It's a free flow state. You know, the World Cup. The
free
World
flow
Cup is
state.
about vibes. You've
Yes.
seen Shakir out there.
But
Those hips
have
don't
I?
lie.
Oh, that's true. As we continue to watch today in the World Cup, though, there are some good matches today.
Yeah.
Let's see, France and Senegal at 3 Eastern. You also have Argentina playing tonight against Algeria. So you have Messi in action tonight, Mbappe in action tonight. So it should be fantastic. A lot of good international soccer for today. So we'll be watching the World Cup of Soup here on Bleck and Abdalla, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Brian Windhorst said that Giannis Antetokounmpo would be willing to sign a contract with 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. We'll tell you who those 2 teams are coming up next.
The U.S. men's national team looks to go 2-0 in group play when they take on Australia. Can the Americans win 2 games in group play for the first time since the original World Cup nearly a century ago? We'll find out Friday. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Yesterday on ESPN television, Brian Windhorst, one of the best reporters in the NBA, covering the NBA, said that Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's likely to be traded here before the NBA draft next week. The draft is next Tuesday. Just letting everyone know. The first round of the NBA draft is next Tuesday. The second round's on Wednesday night. The NBA has now split the nights, so it's a 2-night event. First round is next Tuesday. And so with the NFL or the NBA draft on Tuesday of next week, we have heard in the past from the Bucks that they want a solution to the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation by the time of the start of the NBA draft. With that said, yesterday on ESPN television, Brian Windhorst told people that on TV that the two teams Giannis would be willing to sign with, he also has a column up on ESPN.com today as well. The two teams Giannis would be willing to sign a long-term deal with would be Miami and Boston. So both of those teams, and as Windhorst goes on to write on ESPN.com today, essentially, and this is from Windhorst, the issue with Miami is that it feels like the Bucks do not seem to love the Heat's offer, and they continue to discuss trade packages with other teams, sources are telling ESPN, because they want more than what Miami is willing to offer. Essentially, it'd be picks, Tyler Hero going back, the 13th pick in the upcoming draft, going back to Milwaukee. Now, Boston comes into play because from what the reporting from Windhorst suggests is that that's where Giannis wants to go. And Boston has done a very stealth job of trying to keep their name out of these type of rumors in recent history because they don't want to disrupt their situation if it falls through, which clearly could have some implications on the way the team is structured. And we know that Jaylen Brown loves to get on his live streams and
argue with your grandma.
Yes, he wants people to argue with their grandma about basketball, but
argue with your grandma.
Jaylen Brown clearly doesn't, from what he's said on his own live streams, doesn't seem very happy with the way the team operates when Jason Tatum is healthy, right? Like he's the one that made the comments at the end of the season that it was his favorite season in the NBA, even though they got bounced. They get bounced. He's won a championship before. That should be your favorite season in the league.
Yeah.
Winning a championship. But the season that the other guy who gets more shine than you was out for most of the season, that was your favorite season? It just screams Scottie Pippen vibes. You know, disgruntled Pippen vibes. That's what it screams from Jaylen Brown. So Windhorst points out that the Celtics are very careful about these situations because they don't want to be included in being the team that's sourced going after other stars because they don't want to disrupt what they have with the Boston Celtics already. So Windhorst saying that Giannis would be willing to sign a long-term deal with both Miami and Boston.
Well, it's interesting because what he points out with Boston is obviously breaking up Brown and Tatum. And if this doesn't happen, then you have to address that we tried to break you up. But two, it would require the Celtics to completely overhaul how they play. That's what he says. And then also, you would have to get another team involved. So it's a more complicated trade than the straight up trade with Miami. Because with Miami, you're just involving two teams. You're involving the Heat and you're involving the Bucks because it would just be picks. It would just be Tyler Hero. It would just be, you know, those two teams going back and forth. Whereas if you're dealing with the Celtics, who's that third team? What other pieces are there involved? It complicates the move significantly. And so I think that they would much rather deal with the Heat just because of all the back and forth dealings and the secrecy and having to keep this quiet. Well, this is all over the internet, and obviously it was all over TV. So much for secrecy between the Celtics and the Bucks right now.
But the Celtics can. For the reporting on ESPN.com from Windhorst is saying that this is the Giannis side of things saying it. The Celtics can still come back and say, well, we're not actively engaging in conversations like this. Yeah, Jaylen Brown can think whatever he wants, but like. The reporting, Windhorst is very careful to point out that the Celtics try to keep things like this quiet because they don't want it disrupting what they already have. So, like, I think right now they could still play the card of like, well, it's what he wants. We can't help that he wants to join our franchise.
Yeah, of course they can. They can say that, and they can say that. But then they can point to, and you know that everything, if Jaylen Brown is on a stream, then he obviously sees everything, or people are he's watching the comments in the stream and people are sending him this and people are sending him other reports. He's going to see everything. And if someone is as sensitive as Jaylen Brown is to look at comments and to be on a stream, then it's going to get back to him. And
okay.
this stuff is what?
You got to help me with this. Did you see the story the other day that Jaylen Brown applied for a streamer university?
Oh, with what's that streamer guy's name? Kai Cenat? Is that how you say his last name?
I don't know. I don't watch streamers like I don't do that.
Yes.
I'm not a streamer. You got to fill me in on this stuff.
I don't know what it is.
But that's what he's concerning himself with in the offseason is he wants to go to Streamer U.
I guess so.
Streamer. First of all, what is Streamer U? It's just people sitting at home, right? Playing video games and stuff?
I think so. How to become one of them?
All right.
How to become a streamer?
So we'll keep our eyes on this story, the streaming story. Yeah. Yes. And also the trade stuff with Giannis.
That too.
As well. The summer of football is coming up. Which NFL team is most likely to end their playoff drought? We'll talk about that next.
Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. We're hanging out with you for the next couple of hours. Lots to get to. And also, Abdalla, here on the show, we love talking football. We love celebrating the NFL, even though it's summer. It's a long summer, but the summer slips away pretty quickly. And before we know it, we will be at the start of the NFL season. And each day here in the summer, we like to celebrate the NFL with the summer of football.
I proclaim this the summer of
Football!
What the hell's going on out here? We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Only Brett Favre could do that. I don't care what you say.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
We need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots.
The summer of football with Bleck and Abdalla.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay?
Westwood One Sports, your home for the NFL as we count down the days until the start of the NFL season. Today, day 85.
Matriculating our way through the summer.
85 days until the start of the NFL season. So,
I love it.
You know, off of the weekend with the New York Knicks winning the NBA championship, they end a long-suffering drought since 1973, the last time the Knicks were champions in the NBA. So if we take that idea and we apply it to the NFL, I'm not going to ask you which long-suffering team will win a championship in the NFL. We did that yesterday.
We did.
But which long-suffering team will make it back to the playoffs in the NFL? That is from an article from NFL.com. Which NFL team is most likely to end their playoff drought in 2026? Some of the teams that we could go through. Is there anyone that jumps out to you immediately? Teams that have not made the playoffs in a long time that could get back to the playoffs in this upcoming season in the NFL?
From this list that was given to us on NFL.com, the team that jumps out to me right away, I think automatically are the New Orleans Saints. And it's just because of their division. And it's anybody really in that division, in the NFC South. So in that list, you've got the Saints, you've also got the Falcons. And on that list, in that article, those are the ranked number 1 and 2 from that article. So I could see it being either of those teams. If you look at those records last year, now the Saints were at the bottom of that division at 6-11, but everybody else in that division, the Panthers, the Bucks, and the Falcons, were all 8-9. Remember that tiebreaker had to be determined for the Panthers to end up making the playoffs last year. So I could see anybody, Tua being on the Falcons if he does win that job coming out of training camp and is their starter for however long he is the starter. I think with Kevin Stefanski coming in gives them a different dynamic offensively. You know, if Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers don't take that next step, I think the Bucks, like if I had to pick today, the Bucks win that division, right? Like if I had to pick today. However, Tyler Shuck came on pretty decently at the end of that season. He kind of took over that team, and they made a lot of additions in the offseason. I like the Saints. I have to pick a team to go to end their drought right now, and I pick that's
a segment.
Yeah, one of those teams. Realistically, I don't know if any of these teams will actually make the playoffs.
Well, we know
I think it's one of those teams.
We know the stat. Teams go worst to first every season.
Worst to first, yeah.
So there's likely that will take place, and sometimes these teams fall into that category.
Yeah.
A couple of notes to add to this conversation. Who are the teams who have the longest postseason droughts? So what I find interesting about this conversation, unlike other sports where you're in the basement forever, the NFL, for the most part, the teams who have the longest droughts, it's all recent memory stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the NBA lets everyone in the league into the playoffs, right? Like the NBA, more than half the league makes the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yet there are teams in the NBA who haven't been to the playoffs in years.
Yeah.
Long time, right? The longest active drought in the NFL, it's New York, the Jets. 15 seasons. The last time they played in a playoff game was the 2010 AFC Championship game at Pittsburgh. So the last time they won a game was the divisional round of that same year, 2010. So the Jets, 15 seasons. Atlanta is second on the list, which I would have never guessed that the second longest drought in the NFL as far as getting to the playoffs would be the Atlanta Falcons.
Man.
I mean, a couple of things, right? One, it's because Detroit made the playoffs recently.
Yes.
And two, I'm pretty sure Cleveland made the playoffs in 2020.
Okay.
Which eliminates them from this conversation as well. But I don't really remember that the Browns got to the playoffs in 2020, but apparently they did. Otherwise, they would. Right? Like, think about who are the other long-suffering teams in the NFL?
The Raiders.
Oh, that's a good one too.
The Raiders last playoff season 2021.
21. Okay, that's recent.
Yeah,
memory.
The Raiders made the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
Look up who's someone else. So we got Raiders. We got the Browns.
The Cardinals made it in 2021.
Cardinals. That was the team that I was thinking of. Cardinals.
Yeah.
2021. So like most of the absolute crap teams in the NFL in recent memory have made the playoffs.
They've all found a way to make a wild card spot or something like that, right?
And then they're back in the same spot.
Yeah.
Being terrible as a franchise.
Exactly. And I know that I have, often said that I think that a team that could go worst to first are the Tennessee Titans.
Yes. Yeah. You have said that.
Yeah.
So to look at the list of teams who have had the longest droughts in the NFL, the Jets are by far the longest with 15 seasons. The Falcons are second with 8 seasons. The last time the Falcons were in the playoffs was the 2017 NFC divisional game against Philadelphia. Was their last playoff game. So that was, that was the season after the choke job where they gave up the lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So Falcons, 8 seasons. The Saints, you mentioned the Saints, 5 seasons. The last playoff game for the Saints was the 2020 NFC divisional game against Tampa Bay. The Colts are at 5 seasons. The Colts, the last time they played in the playoffs, the 2020 AFC wildcard game at Buffalo. So those are the longest droughts in the NFL. Jets, 15 seasons. Falcons, 8. Saints, 5. Colts, 5.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are going to say, well, the Knicks got it done, they won a championship, who's the team who will end this drought in this upcoming season? I think you're right. The Saints seem like a good pick. You mentioned Tennessee. Tennessee is a team that you've been on this entire offseason as a team that could go from worst to first, no doubt. I think Atlanta has got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Kevin Stefanski's there as the head coach. We're both questioning their quarterback situation with Tua or Penix. Not sold on either, but the weapons around either of those quarterbacks, they have a talented offense outside of quarterback. If they could just find a quarterback, the Falcons will be rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
so I think I agree with you. The Saints and the Falcons are probably the two teams that could end their playoff droughts.
Yeah, the reason I like the Titans is I don't think the Jets are going to do it. He's got the Jets here. He's got the Colts third and saying that the Colts, look, if it wasn't for Daniel Jones' injury, the Colts could have continued as the NFL's best offense. They were until his injury. Now, the schedule was very easy up until that point. They had lost a couple games, and then he got injured and missed the rest of the season. Now, would a tougher schedule in the back half of that season caught up to them? They still might have made the playoffs, but would they have struggled more in the back half of that schedule? Remember, they lost to the Chiefs. They struggled a little bit, and then he got injured. So they might have still made the playoffs, but they didn't because of the injury. So he's got them third, assuming that when Daniel Jones comes back, that's a lot to assume. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. The Jets at fourth? No. No. Come on.
I don't see the Jets.
What are we doing here?
There's very little chance the Jets get to the playoffs this upcoming season.
That would mean 3 teams out of the AFC East? What are we doing? Come on. And then you get to the Titans, where you've got Robert Saleh taking over. You've got Brian Dable taking over as offensive coordinator for Cam Ward. You drafted Carnell Tate. You've got the easiest thing to turn around is a defense. So if you've got a defensive-minded head coach and you flip that defense and you can surround Cam Ward with a couple weapons, which you did with Carnell Tate, and you can minimize the damage that they give up on defense with a defensive-minded head coach, I think because of the struggles that we've seen with C.J. Stroud, if he continues to struggle, if Jacksonville doesn't go 13-4, I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate that. I don't think the Colts are going to be very good.
Their quarterbacks there, everything was in the right direction last season.
I don't know if they did enough.
Jacksonville was good last year.
I don't know if they did enough in the offseason. They're going to have a tougher schedule this year. I just don't know if they're going to be able to replicate that. I think that the pendulum can also swing the other way for them. It's hard to win 13 games 2 seasons in a row.
No doubt with that. Yeah, I mean, okay, so that in the idea that Tennessee could do it, I can see that.
I could see them being. I don't know if necessarily worst to first. I could see them making. I could see them being in the playoff picture.
I think the call on the Saints is one of those where if Tyler Shuck is the real deal, that Saints team is going to be tough, and we don't really know the rest of the division how it's going to kind of pan out. Carolina, do they take a step forward? With Baker and the Bucks, is that something that the friction there because he wants a new deal? How they're kind of handling that? He was injured last season. How will the Bucks fare this upcoming year? It's a nice thought to say the Saints could end their playoff drought, get back to the playoffs. I think the same goes for Atlanta in the conversation. It's one of those teams from the South. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best one. Definitely not the Jets. No offense, Jets fans, but you know your place. You're waiting for Arch.
Come on.
Right? That's your guy.
Start marching.
You're going to march for Arch.
Nothing wrong with that. Baker Mayfield did have something today via Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times saying that contract talks were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tampa. Give them the money, man.
I would not mess around with that. You know what I mean?
What else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do? And also, I could easily see Baker Mayfield sliding over to one of those other teams that needs a quarterback next season and having success.
Yeah.
It's Pittsburgh. Looking at you, Pittsburgh. You don't think that Philly would rather have Baker Mayfield than Jalen Hurts?
Philly, like you said, Pittsburgh. We don't know
who knows how it works out with Kyler Murray in Minnesota?
Kyler Murray.
You don't think the Vikings would rather have Baker Mayfield?
Cincinnati, if stuff doesn't go well that year, and Joe Burrow wants out.
They would be moving on from Burrow, but yes.
That's what I'm saying. If he's a free agent, he can go anywhere. Atlanta?
There's a lot of spots where I think Baker would have teams going after him.
Yes, absolutely.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can always call or text the show at 310-840-4910. So there you go. The summer of football, day 85. Counting down the days until the start of the NFL season. Westwood One Sports, your home for the NFL. Abdalla, I saw this story earlier today. Did you know that, the hot apple pie from McDonald's? Did you see this story? Were you aware that this is a baked item only? I guess I never really thought of this. The pies are baked.
Yeah.
Right? McDonald's announced today that they will serve a fried apple pie again to honor America's 250th birthday coming up.
I didn't know that they ever went away. The fried version ever went away.
That's why I said that. That's why I said what I said. I didn't know that they're only baked now and that they used to be fried. I was unaware of that.
I didn't know that they changed, and I didn't know that the other version ever went away. And I didn't know. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had an apple pie from McDonald's. They're delicious.
Of course they are.
And I imagine nutritious. There's apples in them.
And then that jelly stuff, that can only be good for you.
It has to be.
Right?
It's got to be good for you somehow.
It's delicious.
It's got to cure something.
So this article is from ABC News. McDonald's is frying up some apple pies to honor America's 250th birthday. The company said on Tuesday it's bringing back the fried apple pies for the first time in more than 3 decades. They'll be available at most U.S. restaurants for a limited time starting June 23rd. So how about that? It's back, which apparently they were introduced in 1968.
Okay.
In 1992, they replaced the fried apple pie with a baked version, which is the version that you get today. So since 1992, they've been baked. They used to be fried.
Okay.
Let's see, 230 calories in a McDonald's baked apple pie. Are you watching your calories?
No.
Over there?
No.
You've got a calorie count?
No. I'm eating a bunch of soup here. I just put a bunch of fried plantains into soup.
There was a group of people online on Facebook. They had a group called Bring Back the Original McDonald's Apple Pie.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a group. There's a group on Facebook.
What are you doing with your time?
130 individuals in this group.
What are you doing with your time,
They're
people?
fighting the good fight.
What are you doing with
These people are fighting
First of
the
all,
good fight.
Who starts this group, and who joins this group?
Enthusiasts of the fried apple pie.
What do you do? How much time?
That's who's joining this.
Do you have on your hands, and how often are you going and getting this apple pie and thinking to yourself, man, I miss this from 30 some odd years ago, and I wish it was fried again.
And apparently, this number from ABC News, 35 feet in height is a giant fried apple pie that McDonald's is installing on Route 66 in Joliet, Illinois, near the McDonald's Chicago headquarters. It's about the height of a 3-story house that they will place, and it will be a giant apple pie that will stay in place until July 4th to promote that there will be the fried apple pies. A 3-story house of apple pie.
Now,
how about that?
Would be cool is if it was a house. That would be the cool thing, is if you really wanted to do this, is if you could live in it.
In the apple pie.
If you could live in the pie.
If you would, yeah.
If it was like a little sleeping bag.
All right.
If you could live in it for like a day or like a week.
Yes.
And then, because that's how you do the viral marketing,
Yeah.
is you have somebody live in it for like a week, and then you get a lifetime supply of pie.
Let me guess. Abdalla loves living in the pie.
No, I'm trying to listen. I'm just trying to create ideas for them. Okay.
I see what you're doing there.
I'm not doing anything.
I think you're
Your
doing.
mind is.
I think you're doing something.
Once again,
I think you're doing something.
I'm trying to create ideas.
Yeah.
I'm an idea man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
trying to create marketing, and your mind is in the gutter.
No, it's not.
This is a family show.
I was talking pies.
This is a family show.
What are you doing?
Your mind is in the gutter.
I was talking pies, man.
Your mind is in the gutter constantly. This is a family show.
It's
PG.
not. I don't think it
rated
is.
E for everyone.
Is it?
And you're the one who's constantly bringing us down.
I got to ask this question. You can text the show at 310-840-4910. What's the one thing from a fast food restaurant that you wish that they would bring back? What's the one thing? There's tons of things that no longer exist. Your favorite fast food jam. Like, what is that one thing that you loved back in the day that you wish you could have back? That place should bring back. I'll start us off. And this is not something that necessarily, I feel like it's a little outside the box. Outside the box, Abdalla.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember back in the day, Wendy's had the chicken Caesar pita?
Yeah.
You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Those are great.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would bring those back.
Yep. I'm not a chicken Caesar aficionado like you are, so.
Yeah, but the pitas, the warm pita bread at Wendy's, that used to be great.
Yeah.
I wish they would bring that back.
All right. I have two of them.
Okay.
I have two of them. I don't think these are available anymore because I just looked it up and it said discontinued. And then they're brought back. And then I think they announced a return, bringing back a discontinued item. They brought them back in 2025. So they brought them back in August of 2025. So maybe they're back right now. So I have two. So I know one of them is definitely gone. First of all,
why don't you tell us what you're talking
the
about?
Burger King Cine Minis.
Okay, Burger King Cine Minis. All right.
Burger King Cine Minis.
Those are a jam.
And the greatest burger was the McDonald's Arch Deluxe.
Arch Deluxe.
The McDonald's Arch Deluxe. It was around the time of the Olympics.
Yes, I remember that.
Team USA.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. I don't know why. All it was a different sauce. Just bring back the sauce, man. That's all you need.
Raj, do you have any that you would add to the list? Things from fast food restaurants you wish they would bring back?
We are in my wheelhouse right now. This is a deep conversation. But all I could think about when Abdalla brought up the Arch Deluxe was the Simpsons episode where they left mayonnaise out in the sun, and that's how they made the secret sauce for the Arch Deluxe. I'll leave it with this because we started with the McDonald's apple pies. Bring back the McDonald's strawberry and cream pies. They were so good. They were like half and half down the middle, like the way they baked it. The strawberry was on one side, the cream on the other. Dude, it was baller. Plus, if you ever had a bad experience at a McDonald's, like who's ever paid for a McDonald's apple pie? Like really, like no one ever has. You go in, you complain it took too long. They're like, here's 2 apple pies. And when they had the strawberry and cream pies, I mean, you were like coming up with stuff to make up that they messed up on your order to get those strawberry and cream pies.
Raj, you do not go inside the McDonald's and complain about your order. Come on.
I'm not saying I have, but I'm not saying I haven't been with people that did it before, and I benefited from getting the free strawberry and cream pies.
Isn't that one where you just drive around
Come
the drive-thru
you
again
wait in
and
line
just
for
reorder?
like 25 minutes, and then they get your order wrong, so you just pull around, and it's like, hey, I really was asking for a McChicken without lettuce. You gave me with one. And what does the manager do? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here's some strawberry and cream pies. Or, when they have those. Now it's apple pies again.
I agree with you. Whenever they're passing out the strawberry and cream pie, that's delightful.
It's hard to turn down right there, man.
I would say, can I add? I don't know. I haven't really looked it up, and I haven't ordered this in a while. But do you guys remember from Burger King the rodeo burger?
Oh yeah,
the barbecue sauce and the onion rings.
Onion rings, barbecue sauce.
That was a great one.
See, some of these are so easy to bring back. Just put some barbecue sauce on it.
They're too worried about the McRib.
The rodeo burger is still there in Burger King.
Oh yeah, it is.
All right, hell yeah, good.
Okay.
It is still
Roy.
available.
Yeah.
Roy, looking out for us in the rodeo burgers.
They got to be careful because they're always like marketing a movie with like a burger, so we lose these other things. Like we had to have the Grogu burger, so you lose other burger. This is part of the marketing strategies.
Wait, Abdalla, what about
let's not forget.
What about the Big Arch burger?
The Big Arch. I remember the Big Arch.
Controversial McDonald's CEO taking a small bite out of that Big Arch burger.
Well, Roy, you can never take a small bite. You got to take a big bite.
And let's not
That's
forget.
rule number 1 of a CEO for a fast food chain. Big bite.
He
Let's
looks
not
so
forget.
disgusted.
Since we are broadcasting out of the great city of Chicago, the one thing they must bring back, the beef Wennington.
Now, I'll explain that to people who don't know.
The beef Wennington for Bill Wennington, Chicago Bulls great.
Backup center got his own burger from McDonald's.
A limited edition
in the
McDonald's burger sold in the greater Chicago area in 1998 to celebrate the Chicago Bulls Canadian-born center, Bill Wennington. It featured a beef patty topped with cheese, onions, barbecue sauce, and Canadian bacon.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
The beef Wennington.
Loved it. All right, so McDonald's bringing back the fried apple pie for America's 250th birthday coming up on July the 4th. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We will have power rankings with Raj coming up next. International soccer is taking over the U.S. and only DraftKings has you fully covered.
The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states. Sweat all the matches you love all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code BNA26 and spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days.
That's code BNA26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26 in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involve risk of loss. Sportsbook's bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
The Hurricanes are Stanley Cup champions. For the second time in franchise history, Lord Stanley's Cup will call Carolina home. Congrats, Canes fans. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you live from Chicago each and every day. Now we head on out to parts unknown in Colorado, and that's where we find Raj Sharon.
And the next question comes from the line of Raj Sharan with Westwood One. Please proceed.
Please proceed on a Tuesday Power Rankings with Raj. What's up, Raj?
What's up, Bleck? What's up, Abdalla? Happy Tuesday, guys. All right, it is Power Rankings time. NBA Offseason edition. The season's over. The Knicks are the champions. So we are about to head into the offseason. So here's the group of teams that you have to select from. The teams that won at least 50 games last season. So we're talking about the world champions, the Knicks, the runners-up, the Spurs, the conference finalists, the Thunder, as well as the Cleveland Cavaliers. The team that was the number one seed in the East, the Detroit Pistons. You've got top-seeded teams that got knocked out early, the Boston Celtics, the Denver Nuggets, as well as the Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets. So these are the teams that you have to select from in today's power rankings of what they need to do here in this offseason. So we're going to start it up. The first power ranking category, Abdalla, is shake it up. You know what? You're going to shake it up. You're going to be open to trading a superstar. Who are you putting in the power ranking category amongst these 50-win teams? Shake it up.
I'm going to put the Celtics in there because I wonder if this 3-team trade with the Bucks is going to happen, and that would involve moving one of the Tatum Brown guys, one of those guys, and that would be trading one of your superstars. So if you have to move on from one of those guys to add Giannis to this team and shake it up that way, I think that they fit that category for sure. Because I don't know if the Thunder are going to make that drastic of a move. I don't see the Spurs or the Pistons doing it. I don't think the Nuggets or Knicks are doing it. The Lakers, I don't know. The Rockets and the Cavs, no. So I would say the Celtics put that if they add Giannis, they're going to have to move on from Tatum or Brown.
All right, Raj, my answer for this power ranking category, shake it up, trading a superstar, I would look at the Celtics and the Nuggets. Those are the two teams in my grouping who I think could shake it up. And obviously, with both of those teams, that's not trading Tatum and it's not trading Jokic. Outside of that, I think both of these franchises could shake it up in this offseason and trying to adjust around those two superstars. So, as Abdalla laid out with the other spots, I don't think the Rockets are realistic. Don't think they can pull anything off. Same with the Cavs, Pistons as well. The Thunder would be fun to say, but I don't think that that's realistic. So I'm going to go Celtics, Nuggets as the teams that should shake it up.
All right, interesting choices. Both won titles recently. Both got knocked out early this year. All right, next category, Bleck, minor tweaks. Minor tweaks, maybe some role player changes. Maybe use the mid-level to add a guy here. Who are you putting in your category for minor tweaks, Bleck?
Yeah, so I think this is two of the teams that are obvious. I feel as if it's Cleveland and Detroit. Minor tweaks, but also I would add the Lakers to this conversation because I think the Lakers have backed themselves into a situation where the only option that they have is to essentially re-sign their guys. Like it's fun to speculate on LeBron going elsewhere and hey, the Lakers could have all this cap space. I saw Windhorst wrote about this earlier today that there are people around the league pointing to the Lakers' possibility of having $50 million in cap space as phantom cap space because essentially if they re-sign LeBron, they re-sign Rui Hachimura, the cap space eliminates. Like it's no longer there. So they don't really have cap space. So I think the Lakers are going to have to be a minor tweak team to change some items to help them try and get over the hump. So I'm going to go Lakers, Cavs, Pistons for my power rankings.
I'm going to go with the Thunder in this one. I don't think they do a lot in the offseason. I mean, just role players. They move some guys around. I mean, you're not going to trade SGA. You're not going to trade Chet Holmgren. It's going to be some minor tweaks here and there, some role players, just to see if they can get back to the Western Conference Finals and get back to the finals. I think, what Chris said about the Lakers fit into that category as well. I think I also think if the reports are true from what Windhorst said and what other people have said that the Cavs are going to, kind of just stand pat with everybody, the Cavs could fit into that. And if they don't add LeBron, if LeBron doesn't go to the Cavs kind of fit into that category too of just running it back with Harden. And if that's going to be who stays there. So I think those three teams, the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Cavs, fit into that category of minor tweaks with role player changes there.
All right, guys. Well, a phrase you just mentioned, Abdalla, leads us to our next power ranking category. Run it back. No changes. Run it back. Who you putting in that one, Abdalla?
If the Knicks had lost, I probably would have not put them in this category. But I think I'm going to put the Knicks in this category. I really don't see a lot of changes coming to this team. I mean, this might have been a team where we would have put Giannis in there. I don't think they do that move anymore. I don't think that he's in that category anymore. I didn't think LeBron was ever in like a Knicks uniform. Like, obviously Durant didn't choose them before. So I think the Knicks fit this category perfectly. No changes for the Knicks coming this offseason.
All right, so my grouping, I've got 4 teams in my power rankings for run it back. Yeah, it's the Knicks just won a title. You run that back. The Spurs and the Thunder, Western Conference finalists. You won 60-plus games. You run both of those back. And the dark horse for running it back would be the Houston Rockets. You got to hope that Fred VanVleet is healthy next season and you get your point guard back and you're actually a really good team that just disappointed last season because you had injuries to your point guard, and he's a very important piece to that team. So I'm going to run it back with Houston, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and New York.
All right, Bleck, our next category is don't call, but pick up the phone. These are your teams that they're not looking to make moves, but they're open for business for the right move.
I mean, does that not scream Boston Celtics? Right? Like we don't want it out there that we're looking. So I'm going to go Celtics. I'm going to go Thunder. I'm going to go Cavs for this category because I think the Thunder and Sam Presti, although their core is set, and I think they will run it back. I'm guessing if someone was willing to take Chet Holmgren off their hands and to give them something, a player that they could either help now or draft compensation into the future, I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma City made that kind of pivot. Mm-hmm. I mean, at points here in the last playoff run, Chet Holmgren was unplayable at moments. And you gave him all of that money, and he's supposed to be a second star on a championship-level team.
Yeah.
Not sold that that's the case. So I'm going to say Oklahoma and Boston in that category.
So I'm going to say the Pistons and the Thunder, and I'm going to go back to the article from Windhorst that we keep referencing, and I'm going to say Jalen Duren and Isaiah Hartenstein because Duren he's a restricted free agent, and Hartenstein has been discussed to free up some cap space by Windhorst. So I'm only going to say that because you don't necessarily have to make a call, but if someone calls, maybe you listen. Maybe you do. Just to free up some space and see, because here's what he says about Duren. He's restricted free agent. Other teams have indicated they want that the Celtics or the Pistons, have said that they want to keep him, but he's a restricted free agent. So if someone calls, maybe you do something. Isaiah Hartenstein would be considered moving. The Thunder might have to consider moving Hartenstein, which is discussed below, but we would cost them cap space and assets to pay. So they might consider moving him. So if you get the right offer, maybe you move off from him.
It's funny. Don't answer, but listen to the call. It's like in a scary movie when the no. I'm thinking like when the phone rings, you pick up and no one says anything. You just hear the on the other end, Raj. Does that ever happen to you?
That is not. No, I when they call me, they just go, "Hello, Sydney." All right, and the final power ranking category today. Blow it up. The opposite of run it back. Blow it up for a team that won 50-plus games this past season. Who you got, Bleck?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the Lakers. This is the Nuggets. I think the chance to win a championship for both of those teams with the group of players that they currently have has passed them by. So if it's going to be Luka and Jokic, you got to blow up everything else around them to kind of reassemble the pieces into a championship level team to go after a title once again.
No, I agree. I think it's both those teams. I think if you move on from LeBron, if you're the Lakers, that's admitting that this era of the Lakers is over, because we've talked about it. Like, you can't believe how long LeBron has actually been a Laker when you look at it. And so moving on from LeBron is like closing the door on a different era of the Lakers. And whether he goes to Cleveland, whether he goes to Golden State, wherever he ends up, you're moving on from, one of, the best player in the NBA of this era. You're moving on from a huge deal. And so I think that is a sign that you're not necessarily not trying to compete, but you're blowing it up, and you're shifting the focus to, this is Luka Doncic's team now and not LeBron's team anymore, which they have clearly want to do.
And that does it for Power Rankings today, guys.
All right.
Good stuff, Raj.
Thanks, Raj.
We appreciate it. Power Rankings on a Tuesday with Raj here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. It was reported yesterday that Darren Peterson has worked out and met with the Washington Wizards. They're the team that holds the number one pick in this year's NBA draft. The draft is next Tuesday. Darren Peterson is reported to only be meeting with the Wizards. How do we read into that? Is it a mistake from Darren Peterson to meet with other teams? He just assumes he's the number one pick? We'll talk about that coming up next.
Patrick Mahomes is the NFL's first $500 million man. The future Hall of Famer has a new deal with the Chiefs worth over $500 million. Coming off major knee surgery, will the three-time Super Bowl champ still have the Mahomes magic to live up to the contract? Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
The NBA draft is next Tuesday night. And Darren Peterson yesterday, it was reported from ESPN, has visited with the Washington Wizards. He hopes to be the number one pick in the NBA draft, and he does not plan to grant another team a meeting before the NBA draft. That's from Shams Charania and Jeremy Woo of ESPN reporting that. So teams in the and the report also from ESPN is saying that teams in the lottery have taken note of Peterson's decision to give access only to Washington, which you could read that in a couple of different ways, right? You could read that as he's been assured by the Wizards that they are taking him number one overall. That's one way to look at it, right? Like the player already knows he's going first overall. Mm-hmm. So why meet and talk to other teams if you know you're going first overall? That happens in drafts, both in the NBA and the NFL, if that's the case. You know, AJ DeBonsa from BYU has visited both Washington and Utah. Utah owns the second pick in the draft. So he's talked to both parties. I would expect DeBonsa and Peterson to be the 1-2 picks. I know over the weekend, there was a report out there that Cam Boozer is rising on draft boards, and maybe Cam Boozer could be in play at number one for the Wizards. Oof. It's all possible. So you have three names there that have kind of been positioning, but the only information that we know at this moment is that DeBonsa has met with the Wizards and the Jazz, and Peterson has only met with the Wizards and will not grant a meeting with anyone else in the league. Is this a good strategy from Darren Peterson?
I don't think so. I just think you should meet with at least the top four. I think you should put yourself out there, and after the season that Darren Peterson had, where he was in and out of the lineup, he was monitoring his own minutes. He said it because he was dehydrated, because he was taking too much creatine while he was at Kansas. Whatever the case may be, there's always been a question of what's going on with Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
And should A.J. Debonsa or Cam Boozer be the number one pick? Now, it's also reported from Shams that the Utah Jazz don't care that he's not meeting with them, that they'll take him second if he's available and Debonsa goes first, that doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
And I would imagine he's a big enough talent that third or fourth, whatever, doesn't matter, right? So, that being said, I would just it's a meeting. This isn't, you're not signing the papers. I just don't understand where these guys are coming from, where they're refusing. We're 7 days away from the draft, where you can't fly into Chicago and meet with the Bulls, where you can't go to Utah and meet with the Jazz, or they could come to you, or you guys meet in the middle, so whatever it is. Meet with the teams. I don't understand why, because it's a bad story. It's not even a story if you meet with the teams. It's a negative story if you don't meet with the teams.
I think it could be. It's not necessarily true at this moment that that's the case. It could be a negative story, right? If he falls. If Washington doesn't take him and the teams that are in the top 5 have concerns about perhaps the character, the attitude, the effort, whatever you want to point to that took place in this past season at Kansas, if he doesn't meet with those teams and they say, yeah, we're good, we don't need that headache. He didn't want to meet with us before the draft. We're not selecting him, and he could fall. I don't think that that's likely. I'm guessing he will be number 1 or 2 selected next Tuesday night. But I do think, the other item to this is it is possible Washington has told him they're taking him first overall.
They could.
It is possible.
They could.
Teams have done that in the past.
They could have.
That has happened before, where a team tells a player, we are taking you, don't worry, we've got it, this is what we're planning on doing, being assured to the agent, to the player, that that's the case. It has happened in the NBA previously. The one thing that I would add to the Darren Peterson conversation is on the show back in March, we had Jordan Cornette from NBC Sports on the show. Jordan does a great job covering college basketball, also covering the NBA. And we were talking about Darren Peterson at that time, back March 18th, about the tournament and the stuff around Darren Peterson. Take a listen to Cornette talking about the narrative around Peterson back from March 18th.
I think that there's been a poor job done by both camps, Kansas and Darren, in controlling the narrative, because it's spread like wildfire, and people have carved narratives that he's a bad kid, that he's a me kid, that he doesn't love the game. And I'm telling you, all those are false. If he didn't love the game, he would have folded and said, I'm not playing for Kansas. He would have quit a long time ago this season. This kid has a pure love for the game. He's committed to it. He's a good kid, not at the core, just everywhere. There's no excuse to be made. He's a genuinely good, kind-hearted kid that cares about his teammates. And in that locker room, they love him.
So that was Jordan Cornette back on March 18th on Bleck and Abdalla before the NCAA tournament, talking about the draft prospect, Darren Peterson. And that's why it is possible that he is hurting himself by not meeting with other teams. It is also equally possible that he has been told that he is going number 1 from the Washington Wizards.
It could be, but Debonsa is also under the impression that he's going to be the number 1 pick too.
Quite honestly, I think Debonsa is the better player.
Well, the odds, and I know this isn't, we've seen it through the NFL draft and any other drafts. Right now on DraftKings, Debonsa is minus 400 to be the number 1 pick.
Do you have by chance who number 2 would be? Is it Boozer or is it Peterson?
Peterson is minus 150 to be the number 2 pick. Boozer's plus 230.
And then Caleb Wilson at 4?
Number 3 is Cam Boozer, and then number 4 would be Caleb Wilson. Yeah.
So next Tuesday night, we'll have the NBA draft. Peterson only meeting with Washington. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Brendan Sorsby heading to the NFL. We'll update that story coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago, hanging out with you for the next hour until 3 Eastern, and then Jim Rome will take over right here on Westwood One Sports. You can always call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Top story of the day today, Abdalla, Brendan Sorsby last night. The reports have come out that he plans to shift his focus from college football, and he plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft, which will leave Texas Tech behind, and Sorsby will be eligible to play in the NFL if the NFL picks him and allows him to in this upcoming football season. So he will not play in college football. He will be entering the supplemental draft in the NFL.
What a bad look for Texas Tech after all of the injunction by the judge, a week ago, saying that they would allow him to play, and then Texas Tech getting behind him. And then obviously you had, in the process of that, you had entire conferences discussing that they would boycott and sanction their teams from scheduling Texas Tech. You had even Georgia saying that they wouldn't schedule Texas Tech. And then yesterday you had the conference even coming after Texas Tech, saying that they wouldn't count the games and all this kind of stuff. And then whether it was Sorsby himself, whether it was a lawyer, whether it was his camp, whether his people, someone got to him and said, look, this is not going to work out. This is trending in the wrong direction. And the best option for you, because this appeal might get heard earlier before the season starts. This appeal might get heard during the season, whenever. It's not going to be heard before the June 22nd deadline to apply for the supplemental draft. So you need to apply for the supplemental draft if you want to get paid this year, if you want to be in an NFL building, any building, and play any form of football. So Brendan Sorsby applied. He put out a statement, and he's leaving Texas Tech, and he is applying for the NFL supplemental draft. And if a team picks him, a team will pick him. And he will be in an NFL building for the start, because most teams are done with their voluntary workouts or ending their voluntary workouts or mandatory mini camps this week. And they're taking their break, and they'll be back sometime in July for the start of training camp. And he'll be back for training camps, and he'll compete for whatever, a backup job, a starting job, whatever. The point is, Brendan Sorsby, after gambling against his team, against the starter that was in front of him, which I still can't believe.
Such a bag move.
Right?
I mean, if your teammate is betting on you, the unders, on you to play poorly, like, I get it. There's always competition on a roster. Guys want playing time. But you're such a loser if you're doing that. Like really. Like, what a bad move.
That's ridiculous.
You know, like, outside of things that are, like, extremely illegal, like, I don't know of anything worse for a teammate in a where you are all pulling on the same end of the rope to try and accomplish something, to then be betting unders on the players that you're teammates with.
Like, imagine if you found out that Shohei Ohtani was gambling on other players' strikeouts. Like, on his teammates' strikeouts on the Dodgers.
Kyle Tucker?
Like, Kyle Tucker was going through a slump, and he pulled out his app and was like,
I'm going to bet on this.
I'm going to bet on a strikeout right now.
Mookie bets under.
Mookie bets under hits tonight.
promo code Bleck and Abdalla 26.
This dude's getting struck out tonight. He's going to go over tonight. Golden sombrero tonight for bets. So, like, that's what he was doing. And so now, if a team in the NFL, and look, a lot worse things have taken place in the NFL, and teams have taken chances on those players. And so a team will take him because some NFL draft scouts, ESPN analyst Matt Miller has him third in next year's draft behind Arch Manning and Dante Moore. So someone will take him. Who that is, when that is in the draft, whether it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, whatever that is, and how much money he gets paid depends on that. but someone will select Brandon Sorsby, and now this is over. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, it's over as far as the college football portion of this conversation.
I mean, what is can the NFL do something to him?
Technically, they could.
I mean, he didn't gamble he didn't violate any NFL rules.
Well, there's also, like, if you read enough into how this all came about and how Cincinnati was tipped off to the gambling and what took place, it is possible, nothing has happened yet, that there are perhaps laws that have been broken based on the gambling in the different states that he's been in.
Yes.
While being a collegiate athlete. So,
I get that.
So it is possible, not that anything has been announced or charged at this moment, but if you read enough into how this all came about, is that there were federal agents looking into it. Whatever that may be, right? Like, that can't be good if that's the case.
Yeah.
So who knows what the end of this story is? He admitted to it. He went to rehab. He then tried to play in college football. This all started June 8th, I believe, is when the Texas Tech success story of them getting the injunction on the NCAA suspension. And since the 8th of June, we've been daily updates coming at you with these new pieces of information of other schools around college football being upset that he was going to be granted eligible for this upcoming season. From coast to coast, you're talking the ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big Ten spans the entire country. They were all upset. The Big 12 stepping in yesterday, getting the injunction to then allow the Big 12 to rule and say that Tech would be ineligible if they played in an eligible player for the postseason, possible wins, and any of that stuff. So it was all a mess as far as the college side of it, and we can kind of discuss Texas Tech and how they move forward with this situation. You know, personally, I didn't know how the supplemental draft worked. So, like, I'm glad that Pete Thamel put it in his column that was posted earlier today on ESPN.com. So this is what it is, right? So this is what Sorsby is applying to participate in. He is applying to be in the NFL supplemental draft, which, this is from the article, according to the collective bargaining agreement, is held if a player who is not eligible for the NFL draft in any league year becomes eligible after the date of the draft, he will be eligible to be selected in the supplemental draft if the league elects to conduct such a draft. It was first held in 1977. The supplemental draft allows teams to bid future draft picks on players. The league hasn't held a supplemental draft since 2023. No player has been selected in the supplemental draft since 2019. The last player was a player selected by the Cardinals, picked safety Jalen Thompson in the 5th round with a bid. So each team has their draft picks for this upcoming NFL season. They can bid one of their draft picks to select Sorsby. So if a team wanted to use a first-round draft pick on Brendan Sorsby, they can put a bid on a first-round draft pick for Sorsby. I'm guessing no team will use a first-round pick to try and land Brandon Sorsby. But if Brendan Sorsby is the type of player that Abdalla is saying, that Matt Miller on ESPN.com is saying the third best prospect of quarterbacks for this upcoming year, it is possible that a team could do that.
Yeah, they could. I don't think that, given where we are in the offseason, I don't know if they would. Like a team that wants to get ahead of this, right? Like a team that doesn't think that they're going to be good enough to draft a quarterback of that stature might, right? Like the Pittsburgh Steelers might get ahead of this, depending on what they think of Drew Aller.
Yeah.
You know, like that to me is a thing that they could look at. The Arizona Cardinals, to me, have a legit shot at Arch Manning. The Jets have a legit shot at Arch Manning and Dante Moore. Like, I don't know if they're willing to use a first-round pick, because then you have to, because if you do, the contracts are comparable to what you pay a first-round pick that slot. So if you use a first-round pick, you got to pay first-round money.
Yeah.
If you use a second-round pick, you negotiate second-round money and so on and so forth. So if a team wants to use their first-round pick, you're giving him a huge contract. So, like, if the Cardinals want to use it this year and Jacoby Brissett is sitting out because he wants more money and you want to start him over Carson Beck and he comes in training camp having no offseason program so far and he wins the job over Carson Beck and Jacoby Brissett is still sitting out, then by all means, like, I guess you're paying him starter money and that's your quarterback for the future. But if you think you've got a shot at Arch Manning and he's going to be better, you don't do it. That's why I think a team like the Steelers would make the most sense. A team maybe in a situation like the Vikings where they've got Kyler Murray now, but they don't know what's going to happen. You're not sold on J.J. McCarthy. If he does get to like the 4th or 5th round, maybe you take a flyer there. A team like Atlanta who's in the same situation. You don't know if Tua is going to stay healthy. You don't know if Penix is going to stay healthy. You've got an entirely new coaching staff that did not draft Michael Penix. What are they going to do? Right? So you've got a situation there that you could monitor. So I think there's a lot of things. And I think that going back to my point with what the NFL could do to him is he didn't do any of this while he was an employee of the NFL. So I don't know if the NFL can punish him, even if there is legal action.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he wasn't an employee of the NFL. So I don't know if there's like a...
Well, they always have the fall-safe of conduct detrimental to the league.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if there's a precedent for this. Like, there's never been a precedent for this that I know of. Like a guy gambling on his team in college and then coming in. Like, we don't have this before because nobody has ever had an apparatus in their pocket for this before. So we don't have that coming in because this is an all new thing.
Well, didn't Kayshon Boutte admit to gambling when he was at LSU? I'm pretty sure he did.
I thought he did.
The state of Louisiana, let's see, he was arrested in Baton Rouge over allegations of illegal sports betting when he was 22, when he was at LSU, and he admitted to it while he was with the Patriots. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's possible the NFL doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's see, Boutte participated in all team activities. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the league may not do anything to him.
Yeah.
That's possible. It's also, I think, like, the assumption that he's going to be as good or as worthy of being selected as high as, like, Arch Manning, I think is also a little rush to judge that. I mean, how many times do we see a college quarterback enter in the final year before they're going to go pro and then absolutely blank the bed? And they're not good. And, like, it doesn't turn out to be the prospect that you thought he would be. Like, a little seasoning sometimes helps.
Yeah.
With a quarterback who only played at Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Cincinnati wasn't a playoff team last year. They didn't win a national title. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that could add to the conversation as well. If a team wants to use a first or second rounder on Brendan Sorsby, then, like, it's your own risk. Now, if you were taking a flyer, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, like, obviously that's a lotto ticket, right? Yeah. Like, if you're going to use one of those draft picks on a quarterback that you hope could turn into your starter at some point, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So the teams that you could look at who possibly could go after him: Cardinals, Jets, Dolphins, Falcons, Steelers, Colts, Vikings, Buccaneers, Panthers. Is there anyone missing?
I don't think so, because looking at that list right there, those are teams that fit the bill of teams that have openings right now that are, marching for Arch or, trying to maybe position themselves for Dante Moore. They're sucking for a duck because he's...
They're doing what?
Sucking for a duck.
Easy.
Listen. I'm trying to get an Oregon Duck on my team. I don't know what you're.
I told you
again
easy.
This is a family show. Your mind's in the gutter. I'm talking about football here, and the other teams that have questions at quarterback entering next season don't know what Kyler Murray is going to do in the regular season. Don't know what Tua and Michael Penix are going to do. So and as of right now, the Bucs don't have a quarterback there. That depth chart, 2027, empty. Because Baker Mayfield doesn't have a contract after this year. So what are the Bucs going to do? So it could be a plan just in case. And the Steelers make the most sense to me because Drew Aller could be someone that you develop, but if you want a faster track, Sorsby would be that guy.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. You can always call or text the show at 310-840-4910. Earlier in the show, we were talking about how McDonald's is bringing back the fried apple pie for America's 250th birthday coming up on July 4th. So I was unaware that the pie is baked. Since 1992, it's been a baked pie. But for the 250th birthday of America, this great country, McDonald's is bringing back the deep fried pie.
Okay.
The apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
So we were asking people at 310-840-4910, what fast food item would you like to see brought back that you missed from the past? Right? Text us items that you wish that restaurants would bring back. I mentioned Wendy's and the chicken Caesar salad pita. Those were great. I love that.
Yeah, that was I'm not as much of a chicken Caesar aficionado. I know that you are one that seeks out the chicken Caesar wrap and the chicken Caesar salad.
Love it so much.
I want the Burger King Cine Minis to come back. They were available all day. They were delicious. They were not just a breakfast item. And I would like the McDonald's Arch Deluxe to come back. I believe it was like a Dijon mayo sauce type of thing.
Special sauce?
A special sauce, if you will, on top of that sandwich, which was delicious. It was a great burger.
On the text line, you can text us at 310-840-4910. From Alabama, we have the 251. Food to bring back, the bacon, beef, and brisket French dip from Arby's.
Okay.
I don't remember that. That sounds awesome.
I do not either. That sounds great.
Let's see, from the 630, which is the Chicagoland area. How about this? They wish that Chipotle would have original portions.
Okay. Yeah. I miss that.
Thank you. Thank you. Lewis and Lyle. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lewis. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wish Chipotle would bring back the original portions.
I miss when a spoonful was a spoonful.
The thing about the Chipotle. Let's see. What else? Text the show at 310-840-4910. Chad in California, 209 text says, the Bell Beefer from Taco Bell.
The Bell?
What's better than a drive-through sloppy Joe? The answer is nothing.
This looks... I don't know if this is the greatest thing I've ever seen or the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It looks like...
Describe this to me.
It looks like a Sloppy Joe taco burger. That's what it looks like. It looks like
the Bell Beefer.
It looks like someone said, what if we took the taco meat and just made a burger? Here's what it looks like. It looks like someone in a McDonald's truck dropped a bunch of buns off at Taco Bell, and they're like,
what are we gonna do with this?
What are we gonna do with these? And someone goes, let's make burgers with all the other stuff that we have. And that's what they did.
Taco Bell usually hits, and the only thing I would say that they should bring back is that old Shaquille O'Neal commercial from back in the day.
Taco neck syndrome?
Yeah, where you had to turn your neck to get through the doorway.
Taco neck syndrome was great, man. Oh, that was awesome.
Let's go to the 501, which is in Northwest Arkansas. This is what the texter says. I'm in Northwest Arkansas, and McDonald's has the strawberry cream pies here.
What?
And the Big Arch burgers in stock.
See, the Big Arch is... Okay, there's a difference. Big Arch is not the Arch Deluxe.
Okay. He also goes on to say, I want Taco Bell to bring back the beefy nacho griller. Elite late-night drunk food. Shout out. But how about that, Raj? The strawberry cream pies.
Where was this again? Where was this again?
Northwest Arkansas.
All right, we're catching a flight from parts unknown tonight.
I mean, how about
that?
that?
Oh, yeah. The beefy nacho griller has beef, nacho cheese sauce, crunchy red tortilla strips wrapped inside a flour tortilla and grilled.
I
fellas,
still can't get
I got
past...
some suggestions for you. I asked my friend co-pilot here, the McDonald's salad shakers. The McDonald's salad shakers came up as a popular one. And the Subway seafood sensation.
No,
do you remember the seafood
Never trust that.
sensation?
Never trust that.
No. No. You know what McDonald's should bring back with
please no.
With Costanza.
We managed to get Bleck to pop up from his chair.
Remember when McDonald's had the Costanza was in the commercial before he was George?
Oh yeah, the hot and the cold.
The hot and the cold. They had the
You
separate.
guys aware of this?
They had a separate. They made a container
Your
for
colds
your
are cold
burger.
and your hots are hot.
And your burger was separate from the bun, and you got it.
You had to put it together.
You had to put it together, and when you got home, your bun was on one side and your burger was on the other,
Easy.
and you put it together so it stayed separate, and so it didn't congeal together on the ride home. I'm telling you, during the break,
yes, it's your homework.
YouTube the commercial. It is Costanza with a full head of hair.
Yeah, before he became famous.
Yeah, dancing in the
acting.
streets of, I think it's New York, singing about keeping your hots hot and your colds cold.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
Okay, hot take. I think fast foods should stop doing salads.
No more salads.
Fire
in the fast
take.
food
Fire,
places.
Roy, coming
Whoa.
off the top rope.
Yeah,
no
Roy
more
off the
salads.
top.
What's the point of having a salad at a fast food?
Easy,
All right.
Stephen A. Roy.
Roy,
All right,
the
Stephen A.
McDonald's
Roy. All right,
McSalad
hot take.
shakers
No,
that we
'cause,
referenced earlier, if I recall, had like more calories and fat than like a Big Mac.
Yeah,
Which
like,
it
yeah,
was
'cause of the
kind
dressing.
part of the special part.
You know, you
also,
already
from Copilot here,
basically-
how about a Bigfoot pizza from Pizza Hut? Do you guys remember the Bigfoot pizza?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, the
I loved
Bigfoot
it.
pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. But yes, if you want to keep your hots hot and your colds cold, check that out. Yes, Costanza with hair dancing about, singing about and the best part about that item from McDonald's from back in the day, like the 80s, was like the burger was unchanged. It was
No.
the same burger. It was the packaging is
And
what they were
the
promoting.
bottom bun was still there. It's just the
ridiculous.
top of the bun.
All right, so it's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One. You can continue to text the show, 310-840-4910. You can also call us at that same number. International soccer is taking over the U.S., and only DraftKings has you fully
The
covered.
DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states. Sweat all the matches you love, all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code B&A26 and spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days.
That's code B&A26 for Bleck and Abdalla 26 in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involve risk of loss. Sportsbook's bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28th. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
Start spreading the news. For the first time since 1973, the New York Knicks are NBA champions. Congratulations to all the long-suffering Knicks fans. You are the champions of the world. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you. If you want to join the show, you can call us at 310-840-4910. You can also text the same number. As we're talking about, you know what we're discussing is that McDonald's is bringing back the deep-fried apple pie for America's 250th birthday coming up on July 4th. So we were talking about items from fast food restaurants you would love to see return, items that have disappeared that you could bring back. And that's where we find on the text line, and we look at the options that are being sent in. How about this one? I need the McDonald's to bring back the Big and Tasty. Do you remember the Big and Tasty?
Yeah.
From back in the day? That's from the 914.
Wasn't the Big and Tasty just a burger with mayonnaise on it? I'm pretty sure the Big and Tasty was just a regular burger with mayonnaise on it.
I don't want to surprise you, but I am not a mayonnaise guy.
That is the most surprising thing ever, considering your whiteness.
What? I can't stand mayonnaise. I understand how you make it. Like, if we sat down and made mayonnaise from scratch, I would eat it.
Okay.
But, like, the canned Miracle Whip and like,
no,
it's
disgusting.
It's my number one. I will not touch mayonnaise.
It is
number one
horrible.
on the list.
Horrible.
You can continue with the text at 310-840-4910. You can also call the show at the same number. The one that I think stands out still is the Bell Beefer. the like sloppy Joe looking hamburger item from Taco Bell from back in the 70s.
That's disgusting.
It looks awful.
I'm telling you, it looked like somebody from a Burger King or McDonald's. Like, it looks like some buns fell off the back of a truck by a Taco Bell. And the workers were like, what are we going to do with these? And so I was like, I don't know, let's make some burgers. Let's make some taco burgers. And they did. Or it was one of those like combination, like Taco Bell Burger Kings.
Yes.
Or like Taco Bell McDonald's. Like, cause we had a Taco Hut growing up. We had a Taco Bell Pizza Hut growing up.
The worst combination you could find is the Long John Silver
Taco John's.
Taco Bell.
The Taco John's.
That combination, every taco you bit into tasted like fish.
Yeah, Taco
And
John's.
that was no good. That was no good. We go to Ray in Chicago. You're on with Bleck Abdalla. Go ahead, Ray. I know what I said.
Boys. What a show today. This is good. And Adam, I know Adam's happy. I'm calling. How you doing, Adam?
Hi, Ray. How's it going?
Good. Hey, man, if you before the show's over, can you repeat the place for that soup? Sounds delicious.
It is called, hold on, let me pull up. It's called La Colonia.
Okay. What neighborhood? Or is it in the burb?
Mayfair.
Got it. And then last thing, what I want to see back, how about Taco Bell's salad bar? Just because some people don't even have an inclination of it. And I'm pretty sure it was bad, but I just remember it from when I was a kid. So wouldn't mind seeing that back.
Wendy's had a salad bar too.
Yeah.
That's right. That was, yes, they did. And I think they had pasta in there, if I'm not mistaken. I'll leave it up to you. Do you want me to say a comment about Sorsby thing or Baker?
Yeah, go for it. Fire away.
Which one, Sorsby or Baker?
Go with Sorsby. It's been the topic of the day today. Go for it.
Here's my thing. I think, I love sports. I know you guys love sports. I just find I think the morality thing has been kicking in for me the last couple of days. I'm just getting really upset that this is like one of the biggest stories that's been happening. All these college, universities, because they didn't get the kid, are all upset. And I'm sure in the NFL, people will say whatever, but there's going to be bids. I'm sure there's going to be at least 12 teams that bid on him. And I just find it like, man, there's so many worse things people do. And I believe in second chances, but you never hear of an uproar like this when someone does something really egregious, and to see that it's over somebody gambling, which I understand compromises the game, but for everybody in college and that, in that conference to just, throw their arms off, whine about it. But when a coach does something that they shouldn't be doing, it gets swept under the rug or nobody talks about it as much. So I just wanted to bring that to the table because that's where, like, as you get older, you really, where's everyone's morals at, I guess, is my thing. So I'll just listen in, man. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Thanks. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, it's a good point. Like, when you look at the overall Brendan Sorsby story, like, that I'm happy that there was the reaction around college football to this, the injunction that Texas Tech got granted for them. I'm happy that was the reaction, not because it's the way I personally feel, but I'm just glad that others didn't look at it as an opportunity to skirt the rules in the future.
Yeah,
right. Like that to me is what I appreciate from this story is that at some level, and I obviously it's because the other teams, the other conferences saw a competitive disadvantage to what Texas Tech was going to have in this upcoming season. But no matter how we got to the point, I think right is right, wrong is wrong. And we all see what's wrong here. You can't gamble on collegiate athletics and on your team as a college athlete and still be eligible to play in college sports. At least that rule is now, we all understand that. We all agree that is a rule that should be in place.
Yes. You don't want the situation of, well, he got to do it.
Exactly.
Because then where that opens the door for chaos in college sports.
Well, and there was that one coach that was the quote was given as a Big 12 coach said, "Why? Let's tell all of our players to bet on ourselves each and every game. Let's go out there and win games."
Listen, it is no mystery to me that Lane Kiffin, head coach of LSU, now knows the spread of every game going in. And if he's going to run it up on you if he knows he's an underdog and they're winning. Trust me, he knows. But like, there's nothing wrong with that aspect of it. It's not like he's got money on the game, but you can use that as motivation. We're not saying actually gamble. You can use, hey, we're a 15-point underdog. They don't think we can sniff this, come within sniffing distance of this team. Like, use that as motivation, but not actually gamble. Like, that's ridiculous. But, what's happening is happening. That's correct. So that's fine.
We got a text earlier from the 209, Stockton Steve. He said he's surprised no one mentioned the McRib, and that whoever mentions it first, you instantly want a McRib, even though he says it's gross.
It comes back does it come back for a limited time every year?
Once a year.
Summer.
I just don't think.
It's around too often to be missed.
I just don't think it should look like
little riblets.
Ribs if it's not actually.
Yeah.
If you can eat what looks like bones.
Well, yes, but it's the shape.
Yeah, but that's gross.
It just looks like school lunch.
Yeah,
like the
it
school
does.
lunch
It does. It does
sandwiches
look like
that they
school
give.
lunch.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think it might be nostalgic.
Ugh.
From the 504, Popeye's onion rings. I don't remember those.
I don't remember Popeye's.
Popeyes had onion rings?
Okay. All right.
Just throwing everything in the fryer.
Now
Why not?
Now we're talking.
I'm down with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Onion rings at Popeyes. All right. Since Ray asked you about the soup, do you want to update individuals here on the show about our World Cup of Soup? Is that something we can do? All right, the World Cup of Soup, yes.
No soup for you. Bleck and Abdalla's World Cup of Soup.
Soup is good food.
As we celebrate the World Cup here on the show, Abdalla will select a soup from each group in the World Cup. He will select one country from each group, taste test a soup, and then he will put them all in a bracket once we get to the knockout stage. And the soups will go head to head. Today's soup was
encebollado, which is the dish of Ecuador. It is the national dish of Ecuador. It is a fish stew. This is with tuna. It is a tuna stew, and it has also it has pickled onions in it. It has crispy plantains in it. The plantains came on the side, which was delicious. And it also, they're called chifles. And it also has yuca in it, which was great. And I had it earlier in the show. It was delicious. We went with Ecuador today because they are in Group E. Yesterday we did Group D. We went with the United States. Group E consists of Germany, the Ivory Coast, Ecuador, and Curacao. And Ecuador, unfortunately, lost to the Ivory Coast on Sunday. So we went with Group E and Ecuador. And this soup, let me tell you, it was the best soup. It was the best soup I've ever had. I went with I have a 5-bowl scale of rating. This was a 4.8.
Okay.
On a 5. And so far we've tried 3 soups. We went with South Korea. The Yucatan soup got a 4.5 from Group A. Group D, the U.S. broccoli cheddar soup got a 3.5. Group E, Ecuador, the encebollado got a 4.8. So that's going to be hard to beat.
So there you go. Our World Cup of Soup. Yes.
No soup for you. Bleck and Abdalla's World Cup of Soup.
Soup is good food.
Raj has texted me a question. He has texted me because your soup had tuna in it.
Yes.
Large pieces of tuna in the soup.
Yeah.
You ate the soup earlier today on the show.
I did.
Raj says, he texts me, does it have the, quote, tuna smell, which, as we know, is a major office faux pas?
So I did microwave the soup, and you sat next to me as I brought it in, fully reheated. Did you smell? Did you know that there was, when I brought it in, did you know that there was fish in the soup?
I did not smell your fish.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So
No, I didn't.
No. I did not stink up the office.
It did not look like canned tuna.
That was
Those were hearty chunks.
Chunks of real meat tuna.
Yeah. So no, I did not smell your fish. No. But okay, we're what do you mean all right?
Can we call Abdalla Big Tuna the rest of the day since he brought tuna to work?
Now that's a
Big
development.
tuna.
I love that.
I'm good with
Look
that.
at you, Big Tuna.
I'm good
Big
with that.
Tuna's a cutthroat guy.
Big tuna.
I'm good with being big tuna.
Steer
All right, let's
clear,
do
Big
this.
Tuna. Head for open waters.
Big tuna. Okay. It's time for our Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. I think we should nominate Big Tuna here for our Defensive Player of the Week. I think that's the key. I think that's it.
I'm fine with being the Defensive Player of the Week.
You brought Tuna into the studio. It could have smelled.
It didn't.
But your defense eliminating the smell and eating your soup.
Yeah. I think it could because it was encapsulated in a stew, in a delicious Ecuadorian stew. It
Probably
did
all
not
the
stink up
spices.
the office. It was great, yeah.
The spices in there, maybe?
Yeah, the spices did it. It was great.
So we are naming Big Tuna, Adam Abdalla, as our Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
That's great.
Yes, Big Tuna. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can call or text us at 310-840-4910. Is Kirk Cousins set up to be a good mentor to Fernando Mendoza? We'll hear from Kirk Cousins coming up next.
The U.S. men's national team looks to go 2-0 in group play when they take on Australia. Can the Americans win 2 games in group play for the first time since the original World Cup nearly a century ago? We'll find out Friday. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
If you missed any portion of today's show, check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify. And also, you can always watch our show live streams up there on Bleck and Abdalla's show on YouTube. And new content posted daily on our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe to the channel today. Thank you to Raj and Roy for producing today's show. Up next here on Westwood One Sports, Jim Rome coming up in 13 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. So Kirk Cousins is with the Raiders, and he is set to be the starting quarterback. The Raiders have said that he is the starting quarterback, even though the Raiders used the number 1 pick overall on Fernando Mendoza. I think that's crazy. You draft a quarterback first overall, he should be starting. That's the way it should go. It also creates this situation where you want Cousins to mentor Mendoza. Now, from everything we've seen, and last week, the first couple days of mandatory minicamp with the Raiders, like the reviews are great on Mendoza and Cousins. They're getting along. Everything in the room is great. They're both awkward as hell, so they kind of work for each other. It kind of all works. The question is, will Kirk Cousins be a good mentor to Fernando Mendoza as the season goes along? Because I think that you and I both see it the same way. At some point, earlier than later, the Raiders will struggle, the offense will struggle, Cousins will struggle, and there will be a push to start the rookie quarterback. And how will Kirk Cousins handle that when that time comes?
Yeah, I think we've seen from the last year or so with Kirk Cousins, like he's decent. He's not horrible, but you want your development to start.
He's washed.
No.
He
That's
can't
what I'm saying.
play anymore.
Like he's not horrible. Like I was saying, he's not horrible. But if you're, he's not
name a replacement quarterback that is horrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's not. He is replacement level. So if you're going to get about the same thing that you're going to get from him, that you're going to get from Fernando Mendoza, you might as well just start Fernando Mendoza and see what you're going to get from him and start that development right now and get him going right now, because he's not going to do any worse than Kirk Cousins is out there. And you're not winning. You don't look, they're going to say they're going to try to win the division and all that, but they're not going to. So you might as well just start this development and in-game action of Fernando Mendoza right off the bat.
You know, it's a young quarterback room. Aiden O'Connell is there for the Raiders at the moment. He'd be the third-string quarterback. Fernando Mendoza being the second stringer, and then Kirk Cousins being the guy as the starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. This is what Kirk Cousins had to say about being the mentor for Mendoza and O'Connell.
Well, they're great people. They're fun to work with. We have fun in the meetings. Have good dialogue. They're great, football minds, great studiers. So, they can push me. I think to say I'm mentoring them is a bit of a reach, probably more of a narrative than it is the truth, in the sense that they're pretty good players and pretty experienced. And I'm learning a lot from them too and asking questions of them. And so it's always been a working force together in the quarterback room, and that's what it is. Nobody's leading more than someone else. I think we're all just kind of a working force together, helping each other, giving feedback, giving perspective, giving another set of eyes. And I've always felt I prepare my best during the season when we can all kind of be together in that room in the evening, going over things together, rather than working in our own silos. I think when we can kind of all be giving feedback on each other, that's when I think the best ideas come out.
You know what this kind of feels like to me is when we heard from J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray a couple weeks ago, where Kyler's perception of it is different than J.J.'s because J.J. is the one that wants the spot, and Kyler feels like he's going to be the starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins today says what he just said. He's the starter. It's collaborative. We're all working together. The moment that shifts in the room, because like right now in the offseason, it doesn't matter. There's no game tomorrow. There's no depth chart for tomorrow. Like it's all off-season stuff. They're all working together, new coaching staff, so they're implementing a new offensive system. Like today, what Kirk Cousins says is great. But how is that, like, what's the room going to be when you're not the guy leading the room? When it's flipped because 5 weeks into the season, the Raiders are 0-5 and the offense hasn't improved, and the calls to start the quarterback, who you just picked number 1 overall, comes.
I don't know. I think it's Kirk Cousins. I think it's going to be about the same. I think he knows what he is in his career
at this point, but I'm saying it's a different perspective when you are then put into the second chair, and then when you're trying to sell, well, it's all collaborative. Well, yeah, it is until you get to game day and you're not allowed to play.
But I think that he knows where he is in his career. I think he's self-aware, and I think that when that time comes, week 5, 6, 7, whenever it is, he knows what he is. And he's not naive. They picked Fernando Mendoza first overall. This isn't like Drew Aller that was selected deep in the draft. This guy was picked first overall. There was no secret about it for months that this guy was going to go first overall.
Yeah.
When he signed the deal, like when he went to the Raiders, this guy was going to go first overall.
Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Abdalla, do you have any zoo news?
I always have zoo news, Chris.
Zoo
well,
news.
hello, Mr. Lion. Here's the latest edition of the Zoo News.
What do you have over there?
Let's go up to Marshfield, Wisconsin, where a skunk named Violet has escaped from her habitat at the Wildwood Zoo, and staff and community are working to find her. Violet, a striped skunk, has lived at the zoo for the past 2 years. The Wildwood Zoo staff believe flash flooding recently has damaged part of the exhibit's foundation, creating an opening for her to escape. The enclosure has safely housed mountain lions, skunks, porcupines over the years. Striped skunk mating season has just begun, which may have influenced Violet's behavior. Though officials cannot say for certain. Violet is not considered to be dangerous, as she has been descented and was raised in human care for her entire life and is up to date on her rabies shots.
Oh, good.
While she is unlikely to approach people, she may not flee immediately. If encountered, zoo officials are asking the public not to approach or handle her. So if you are in the Marshfield, Wisconsin area, do not approach Violet and contact the zoo, because we know the animals at the zoo. We report on the news. They want to be, but you got to let them out. They don't like to be there. They want to be let out. Yeah.
Let us out, let us out, let us out, let us out. The zoo is overloaded.
And that, Chris, is what's new at the zoo.
That's what is new at the zoo.
So Violet wanted a night out.
Maybe. Or a couple nights out, it sounds like.
She's out on the town.
Out on the prowl.
Searching. But she's, what'd you say? She's descented?
She's been descented.
What does that mean?
It means she can't spray the stuff at you.
Oh, all right.
She's a skunk.
Okay, so we're all good.
She's been lepewed.
Yes.
She's been depued, actually.
Easy there. Jim Rome and the Jim Rohn Show is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.